Hello, everyone. Good evening, good morning, wherever you are. Welcome to today's webinar. Today, we're going to talk about business continuity readiness and how Amazon FSx for NetApp ONTAP can help you with that. Before we begin, I'll talk a little bit about housekeeping. I'll give opportunity to stragglers to join us for the webinar. So first of all, please, if you have questions during this presentation, please feel free to put your questions in the Q&A part, and then we will answer them as we go along. We will have a Q&A session at the end of the webinar should we have missed any questions or maybe would like to mention a question verbally. And with that, I think we can begin. So first of all, we'll start with introductions. And my name is Dani Tsidoni. I am a product enablement specialist at NetApp. Before working at NetApp, I worked in NetApp as a cloud solutions architect and worked building and maintaining cloud solutions in different companies that you can see here. And essentially, I have quite a bit of experience building applications in the cloud. And as part of my responsibility as somebody building production applications in the cloud, I was involved in business continuity efforts, which, as we are going to talk about, is a whole company encompassing effort that involves representatives from many people within many departments within the organization. And with that, I would also like to let my co-host introduce himself. I'm very happy and very grateful to co-host today with Andre. Andre, please introduce yourself.
Thank you, Danny. Hello, so my name is Andre Namvong. I'm Cloud Solution Architect at NetApp. I've been in NetApp for 4 years. Before NetApp, I've been working for SI and GSI companies, mainly having a task of whether managing mission critical application or helping customers migrating their business applications on AWS. And most of these customers were very expecting to improve the resilience of their applications to increase the SLA that they couldn't get on-prem. And to that, I'm very thrilled today to present together with Danny how these customers can achieve this goal by means of NetApp technologies on AWS. So.
Thank you very much, Andre. And after we've introduced ourselves and you got to know a little bit about us, we want to know a little bit about you, which is going to help us to understand a bit. We've opened a survey. Please take a minute or two to answer it. So what are we asking is how confident you are in your current data availability strategies. And I understand that results are coming in. I'll wait till people have answered, and then we'll talk a little bit about the results. Okay, so I do believe we've got some answers. Most people are somewhat confident in the data availability strategy. Very few are very confident, and we also have quite a significant minority who need improvement, and that's great because that's what we're here for, learning how do we improve our business continuity effort and how can we do it in the data level. So with that, let's talk a bit about business continuity. So the idea of business continuity is how do we continue our business should any disaster take place, should something unexpected. And therefore it is, as I said, a company-wide effort. From cybersecurity to the redundancy of the application, incident responses, how our offices are built, who can get in, who can't, the staff, making sure that we have the staff that we need to continue our business. As I've said, I have been involved in business continuity efforts in the past when you're talking about it with our different certifications that handle that. And I'm sure that you have addressed these certifications. Today, we're going to focus on data storage resilience. Amazon FSx for ONTAP is a storage service within AWS. We'll talk about that. So this is what we're going to focus on today and how we can protect that. And when you think about it, the business data is one of the key components for business continuity. You can't continue your business if you don't have your data. So it is very important to make sure that our data is well protected, available, even across disasters. So if you're involved in business continuity, you probably know some of the certifications involving that. My personal experiences with ISO 22301. I did it in 2018, and then you had lots of questions about imaginary scenarios like having the entire world not working from their office at a certain period. Now, oddly enough, of course, had you told me in 2018 that that's going to happen 2 years later, I would have laughed in your face, but it did happen. Just goes to show how business continuity, the importance of of business continuity readiness, of really being prepared for whatever disaster that might happen, and not to be caught off guard. And now, time for another poll. Let's see if we caught you off guard there. So what is your biggest challenge when it comes to business continuity? We're going to talk about the challenges soon, so it is interesting for us to know. What is yours? Liat, we have the results. Great, so we see that the results are in. So I think there's a pretty good split here. We are going to talk about the challenges. I see that people sometimes somewhat have different interests and different challenges, which makes perfect sense. So what are these challenges when we're planning our business continuity? So first of all, there's complexity. We need to coordinate and synchronize multiple components in our applications, making sure that all the moving parts are working together. We want to avoid downtime. Restoring an entire application stack could be taxing, could be very hard until all the components are ready and are interfacing together. And downtime is a problem because we are typically bound by SLAs, especially with our mission critical applications. We have a responsibility for either our colleagues or our customers that we must meet. Unique consideration, different applications have different requirements and dependencies. One part can't work with the other part. All of this is sort of an interesting jigsaw of how to recover from a disaster or for whatever reason, having so many dependencies and different requirements. And last but not least, on paper, you could have the best business continuity plan, but if you don't test it and have to try, or alternatively have to test it in real time under pressure for the first time, there could be significant problems. Typically, when something goes wrong, many things or all things go wrong at the same time. So we really want to test our DR plan, making some DR drills, making sure that even in a simulated disaster, our business continuity plan works and we can continue our business. The problem is these testing these applications in a live environment is risky. We might cause downtimes, and creating copies for DR to test on could also be taxing, could be expensive, and could take a lot of effort. And with that, we are going to present our star of the evening, Amazon FSx for NetApp ONTAP. What is it? Where does it reside? What is the ecosystem? And with that, I will let my co-host, Andre, to present us. Andre, please take it away.
Yes, sure. So Amazon FSx for NetApp ONTAP is a first-party service from AWS, and a service that is part of the FSx family of storage from AWS. That's a storage service that embeds NetApp technology, and in particular the ONTAP storage OS that is adopted by many of our customers and which is around for over 30 years, so it's a well-proven storage OS that's powering this solution. And what this solution enables to do, here you can see all the features. It's a pretty feature-rich service. So there are a lot of pillars that this service can address. So in terms of accessibility, it's one of the rare storage that's able to provide uh, file storage, so NAS storage, but also block, which is very specific to this service, as well as the protocol, so NFS, SMB, iSCSI, and now we have the support of NVMe over TCP. In terms of resilience and protection, so the service embeds several mechanisms that will help increase the level of availability. So the service can be a single or multi-easy. You can make use of the snapshots in order to protect your data. The data. The snapshots are images of the volume at a point in time in the past, so you can recover very quickly. And it's the underlying technology that sustain the possibility to deploy disaster recovery and backup environment very easily and quickly. In terms of data security, again, so it's a domain that's it's far from being neglected with this service. So within a single file system, you'll be able to create different isolated environments within the same file system. You have Active Directory authentication. What's interesting is that you're able to create immutable storage, whether data or the snapshots, so to make them non-erasable and you cannot modify them. So it's very powerful to protect you, especially from the ransomware attack. And you can also protect from other kind of threats like being able to plug an antivirus with the system. In terms of price and performance, so it's a service that is leveraging several storage efficiency mechanisms, so dedupe, compression, compaction. So the idea is to really lower the physical storage footprint in order to optimize the cost, as well as to be able to adapt the performance to the need of your applications. And lastly, the data mobility and copies. So you can benefit from the clones. So these are the virtual volumes of the true containers of data, which don't take too much of space, and that you can present to your test system or development systems in order to have multiple environments without over-consuming storage. And we have also other features like cache or migration facilities. But today we are going to focus more on this pillar of resilience and protection. So back to what Danny mentioned earlier in terms of business continuity planning challenges. So how the service address all of these challenges. So in terms of complexity, the service will help simplify the replication of data. So it's done at the block level. And also, and you will see later, we will show you how by using NetApp tools, we can make it easy to set up the disaster recovery solution for this service. In terms of downtime, we are addressing that by providing possibility to recover fast by means of the snapshots that we can create instantaneously, and also to recover in minutes. So that will help minimize any downtime that you may suffer. In terms of unique considerations, well, The solution provides holistic protection, so you'll be able to be very granular in terms of restoring the data that you are protecting. You can restore an entire volume down to some files or folders that you only want to restore. So it's a very granular. And lastly, when it comes to DR testings, so a good DR solution is a solution that can be tested often and simply, and that's what the service offers. So the possibility to create lightweight data copy so that you'll be able to test that live, or you can also make use of clone, for example, in order to simulate disaster recovery. So in a nutshell, what FSx1 NetApp ONTAP can help you address these business continuity challenges.
Thank you very much, Andre. And so we've talked about the features themselves. Let's understand really what makes it a compelling case. So we'll start with a resilience and protection overview, talking about that pillar which is most relevant for our business continuity plan. So we'll start, of course, with high availability. Now, as we all know, when it comes to mission critical applications, AWS recommend that we work in a multi-AZ deployment. What does that mean? That means that our workloads, be it the applications and all the different components, are working in multiple availability zones within a specific AWS region. Availability zones are separate data centers where our data resides. How does it work with FSx for ONTAP? So you have two nodes. One is passive, one is active, one is writing to the other. We'll talk about that. We've got snapshots, which are local backups. We've got disaster recovery with cross-region replication, not only on the multi-AZ, but also between file systems and different region. And last but not least, we've got remote backups that are sitting in a repository in your cloud account. Let's dive into the high availability pair. Essentially, you have high availability if there's a planned or unplanned downtime. So because AWS is managing FSx for ONTAP for us, we keep our data on something called a volume, which is the logical unit in which our data is kept. Now, the underlying storage consists of two nodes, an active node and a passive node. Operations are handled by the active node, and it is replicated synchronously to the passive node. They're always in sync, giving us a return point objective of 0. And let's say the active node is unavailable, so we said planned and unplanned. When you launch FSx for ONTAP, like other managed services, you need to put in a maintenance window because AWS will do maintenance windows. Usually they don't entail downtime, but if you want to upgrade the ONTAP version, for example, they will have to do it one node at a time. So hence the importance of an HA pair. And let's say the active node is unavailable for some reason, if it's planned or unplanned, if an AZ fails, which has happened more than once in the past, then the passive node will take its place and we can continue work until the issue is resolved. Next up is snapshots. You can't really talk about ONTAP without mentioning snapshots. Snapshots are read-only point-in-time images of the volume. So we've got our volume, the logical storage unit. The data itself is kept on 4 kilobyte blocks. And when we are creating a snapshot, what we're essentially doing is creating pointers to the data blocks on the active data on the volume. Data is not copied. That means that snapshots are instantaneous. They are created instantly. They do not take up space initially. And they only start to take place when the volume changes. So let's say we write a new block or change a block on the volume. now the original block is maintained with snapshot because it points to them. And therefore the snapshot now takes capacity. If we take another snapshot, it will also be instantaneous and initially will not take capacity. They're also directly accessible through the volume. So if we have a local disaster, accidental deletion, encryption, corruption, whatever, we can use the snapshot to easily restore data from the volume. Very quick, very efficient, and very cheap. Very economical. So to summarize, they are created instantly, they are non-disruptive, there's a very negligible performance overhead, and cost efficient because they do not initially take up space, and when they do take up space, it's only for the difference between the active data and the saved data. Another thing about snapshots that was mentioned earlier by Andre, there is a feature that allows you to make them immutable. That means that nobody, including administrators, can delete them. It is very good for regulation purposes if you need to retain data for perpetuity or for a predefined time frame, and you don't want any accidental deletion, including by admins. So that's another option, and it can be very useful against ransomware. Now let's move on to disaster recovery. What happens if the whole file system, not only one availability zone, is inoperable, or if we want to fail over to another region for some reason? So we can maintain a mirror copy using a technology called SnapMirror. Essentially, we're taking the snapshots that we took of our volume, and we are copying them to a secondary file system in a different region. We can set up a schedule to make sure that the changes are automatically copied to our DR site, once again, according to our RPO, to our recovery point objective. The destination volume can be accessed in a read-only form in the secondary region. That means that the file system there doesn't have to be the same throughput as the production one, which also is important from an economical perspective. Let's say we have a disaster and the file system fails in its entirety. All we need to do is sever the SnapMirror relationship, launch our applications in the DR region, and only connect to the volume and start reading and writing there. Backup and archive. So we've said we've got snapshots. They're a local backup sitting on our file system. Let's say we don't necessarily want a DR site in a different region. It is maintaining a DR site is costly. Maybe we don't need it. Maybe our SLA do not mandate it. But what do we do if our file system fails and we need to recover? We don't want to lose our data, even though our SLAs might not be that aggressive. So for that, we've got backup and archive, can maintain our snapshots, and using SnapMirror, instead of moving them to our file system, we can use a highly durable backup repository in our cloud, also use a predefined window that, or trigger it manually, whatever we prefer, and the snapshots are replicated to the backup repository. Should we want to recover, we can also create a new volume, restore it with FSX backup from our repository on an existing file system or on a new one. That's entirely up to us. We can also use it for a 3-2-1 backup system, meaning we have a DR site and a repository somewhere else. How do we implement these? So we've mentioned these features, but how do you implement? How do you create local snapshots? How do you create SnapMirror relationship? These are not available on the AWS console, but how are they available? With that, I'm handing it back to Andre to walk us through it. Andre, please take it away.
Thank you, Danny. So I will walk you through the different options to implement the business continuity architecture that Danny has just presented. So there are three options that we are going to cover. The first option is to make use of ONTAP CLI. So I think that's mentioned in this slide. Thank you. So the service, so FSX for NetApp ONTAP embeds a powerful CLI solution. So it's the ONTAP CLI. So it is used by majority of our NetApp customers who are already familiar with this tool. So what you need to do is to access via SSH from, let's say, a jump host, and then you enter the credential of the file system, and then you can access to the terminal, and that will give you access to the different possibilities of configuring, administrating, and also making monitoring of the service. But that's based on a CLI commands, and that could be a bit cumbersome for some customers. But that's a viable option. A second option is to make use of infrastructure as code. So majority of customers that are running their workloads and having their landing zone on AWS are usually making use of automation by means of infrastructure as code. And here you can consider the CloudFormation, that the basic CloudFormation code that is provided by AWS, but that will give you only the possibility to deploy some basic resources. But now the good thing is that NetApp has also created the custom resources CloudFormation package that will help to address advanced ONTAP operations, all by using CloudFormation. That way, you will be able to set up some configurations, such as a snap mirror relationship, or creating or modifying some policies, whether that's for snapshots or export policies, for example. And you will see at the end of this presentation, there's a GitHub link where you can download and make use of this CloudFormation custom resources package. So that's a second option that is also possible for deploying FSx on NetApp ONTAP. The third option is the very nice tool that NetApp has developed, so which is a BlueXP Workload Factory. BlueXP Workload Factory is a SaaS solution, so that NetApp has developed. It's a free of charge, so it's you can access it from via a user interface, so graphical interface, or via API. So you have the possibility to choose between a graphical console or API. So and the idea is to help in ease the deployment of the service. So this is what we are going to go a little bit deeper in the next slides. So here, in a nutshell, so Workload Factory is an automation and optimization service that also includes the well-architected framework practices, so that when you're deploying your file system, you know that it already meets many pillars from the well-architected framework, which is very good. So usually for the customers that are working on AWS or considering to migrate their applications or workloads on AWS, they often ask themselves questions about how much should I configure in terms of resources? What are the sizes of the instances, the capacity of the storage? And usually these are complex questions that require a lot of efforts. And usually the initial estimations are incorrect. So one good thing with Workload Factory is first that in the plan section, you'll be able to use the calculators in order for you to estimate the savings that you can get from using FSx from NetApp ONTAP, and also to prepare for the deployment of your file system. In terms of provisioning, then when you're making use of the user interface, and you will see that in a minute, you'll be able to follow wizards, which are very well details in terms of parameters to be entered so that you can deploy your file system which include all of the best practices. And lastly, you can think of workload factory to not only automate but also monitor and optimize your deployments. Another good thing, so in terms of feature offered by Workload Factory is the code box that is embedded in the solution. So whenever you are preparing your deployment, you will have the preparation of the code in different languages. That could be CloudFormation, that could be Terraform, but also native API, so that you can simply copy and paste these snippets of code and apply them, put them in your deployment pipeline. So in a nutshell, what are the main characteristics of this service? So as I said, many features. So the TCO calculators that are embedded in order for you to estimate the savings that you can get compared to other services. Deployment wizards, a dashboard that will show you different metrics such as capacity used, CPU, latency. Migration advisors, so you will have also some advices that will guide you to be closer to the well-architected definition if the system detects any gap. Infrastructure as code scripts by means of the code box. And lastly, the drift remediation. So it's a nice feature that's here to ensure that over the whole life cycle of the file system, the configuration remain consistent so that it will avoid any bad configuration or over provisioning of capacity typically. So with BlueXP Workload Factory, you can get it right. So deploy your file system right for the first time in your first attempt. So it aims at reducing the errors when you are doing the deployment or the configuration manually. It will help lower the workload cost by up to 50% because it will really take into consideration the best configuration for the deployment. And lastly, when you are planning to deploy, you can decrease the plan duration from hours from days to hours. So that's a very good tool to use in free of charge.
And I think time for another poll. Liat, please shoot the poll away. Okay, so before we can continue, I want to know a little bit about you. What's your recovery time objectives for critical workloads? Do you have any mission critical workloads that need to be returned quickly? Not very tolerant to downtime, etc. We'll see that, and with that, we'll continue to our demo, which refers exactly to that. Liat, do we have the results? All right, so we've got most people have mission critical workloads. Some have more lax RTOs between up to 4 hours, but the most of them are quite, as I've said, under 1 hour. People here are serious. They have very strict SLAs, and with that, story time before I let Andre present the demo. I'm going to tell you about Alex, who's an IT administrator at the aptly named XYZ Corporation, a mid-sized technology solution company. Alex has been tasked with configuring a storage environment that meets the organization's business continuity plan to make sure that the company can maintain operations during and after a disaster. needs to address RPO, RTO, backing up to a remote site, and of course, to add a little cherry on top, financial data must be kept for 7 years. Let's see how he can do all that within a short demo. So I'll stop sharing and I'll let Andre take it away.
Thank you, Danny. So I will be Alex in this demo. So I'm going to share my screen. So hopefully you can see my screen. So here you can see the Workload Factory console. So in this section, you can see typically on the top the different tab starting by the AWS accounts. So the tool is here to help you have an overview of all your file systems within one single pane of glass. So even if your file system are distributed across different AWS accounts, you will be able to see them easily through this console. And you just have to set up your credentials in the tool so that they are discovered and you can manage from this console. And also when the file systems are created in different AWS regions, then you can quickly see them on a centralized way, even if they are distributed in different regions. In the lower session, as you can see, we are having two FSx4 ONTAP file system. We have a prod file system, which is the main storage, and the DR file system, which is a remote file system that sitting on a distant region, as you can see in the region section of this screen. So here, what I'm going to do is to go inside the prod file system. And you can see here that I'm selecting the SVM for that prod file system. An SVM is a storage VM, so it's a kind of a logical storage controller. And here, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to create a snapshot policy that I'm going to apply on a volume that I would like to protect. So here I'm just need to click on Manage Snapshot Policy. As you can see here, you have some already defined snapshot policies. And if you hover the mouse on one of them, you can see what are the snapshots frequencies that are taken for a given policy. But in my example, I'm going to create one from scratch. So I'm going to give it a name, so new policy. And as you can see here, you can simply define the frequency of the snapshots that you want to create via this policy. So you only need to set the values through this wizard, and that will prevent you from typing some lengthy and complex CLI commands. Typically, you can do this by means of this nice UI. Here in this section, I will specify that I would like also to trigger immutable snapshots because typically for regulatory constraints, I need to keep some snapshots that are immutable, typically for on the FSI sectors where you have credit card numbers, for example, to be kept as archive for a certain period of time. Here I can define that by checking immutable snapshots daily. And I would like to keep 7 days of these immutable snapshots here. and we check the button. That's just to say that I'm aware that these snapshots will be immutable for a certain period of time. That's it. It's very quick to create that snapshot, that policy, sorry. Now what I'm going to do is that I'm going to apply this snapshot policy to a volume here. So in this example, I'm going to apply the new policy that I've just created on this volume called financial data that contains the critical data for my business. And as you can see, if I hover the mouse here for the local snapshots, it says not protected, meaning that this volume by default is not protected for any snapshots. So in case that there's any outage or on this volume, I may lose the data. So what I'm going to do here, now that I know that this volume is not protected, is that I'm going to select snapshots and then assign the snapshot policy. And I will choose a new policy that I have created just earlier and assign a snapshot policy to that volume so that the file system will apply this policy and create the snapshots. Now you can see that it's protected, and those snapshots will be created at the frequencies that I have defined. Now, what I'm going to do here is that not only I have created the snapshots on this volume, but now I'm looking to replicate the data from the prod file system to the DR file system in order to implement a disaster recovery solution. So here, all I have to do is to define the region where the remote file system is. So in this case is DR. I will give a name. It's automatically filled with a name of the target volume that we call the financial data underscore copy. In terms of use case, you can select whether you are simply migrating the data one-off, or you can define whether you are replicating frequently or less frequently. And that's defining what hot disaster recovery and cold disaster recovery definition. So in this example, I'm going to select a cold disaster recovery because I want to have disaster recovery with RPO that is not too low. Here, in terms of intervals of replication, I can select hours. And here I can say also that at the destination, I would like to keep those snapshots for a longer term, which means that here, for this example, we would like to keep those snapshots for a duration of 7 years, so that I will select the corresponding policy. So this one will help me keep 7 years of snapshots on the destination file system. So here, I'm just click on create the replication. And if I were going to have a look at the target file system here, and then we go into the volume. So you can see that the replica of the main volume, so financial data copy, is now here. It's created, and it's will be the recipient of the replication of the main storage. And here you can see that the volume type is DP, so it's data protection. So typically it's this volume is here to be the replica of the main storage on the other side. So now when we are going to the replication relationships here, you can see the replication relationship. So from the source volume to the target volume, we can see that the relationship has been defined, and there are several information that will give you an indication of whether the replication has been done correctly, how long it has taken. Typically, during the last iteration, the transfer has taken in terms of duration. So, but we can see that the state here is uninitialized, which means that the replication has not started yet, but the relationship is there. So what I'm going to do is to simply select this relationship, and then I will click on initialize, I confirm, and then I kickstart the replication from the source volume to the destination volume. Here, as you can see, you can now break this relationship so that it will stop, it will pause the replication of the data from the source to the destination. So here, the status is broken off. That way, you can now start to test the volume replicated on the DR site while the replication has been put in post. It's broken off here. So you can perform your DR testings. And when it's done, it's possible here to reverse the relationship. So just to say that I would like to fail back from the DR back to the initial site. And I can just simply click on reverse relationship. And when I do that, I reverse the direction of the replication. So let's see what we can see from the dashboard. So now, as you can see, the source volume is now the financial data copy. So the volumes on the DR site, and the target volumes is the financial data, so on the prod system. So we see how easy it is to change the configuration of the replication here. So coming back to the file system, we are going on the prod file system, having a look at the status of the financial data. So here we can see that now it's in DP, in reverse. So which means that the reverse relationship has worked correctly. And you have many other features here just to monitor or to change the way that you're configuring the replication. So that's it for the demo. So over to you, Danny, for the conclusion.
Thank you very much. So we'll get back to the deck. All right, so we finished the demo, and as I think Liat already said in the chat, there's a list of resources for the links. You will, of course, get the recording and the deck of this webinar, and you're more than welcome to try Workload Factory with this QR code. And with that, we are here at the Q&A section, and I think I saw a question that, Andre, I think you marked that you wanted to answer.
Yes.
Okay. So
I'm reading the question. So can you connect to the cluster management interface for ONTAP on FS6, or are we limited to connecting via SSH to CLI to individual nodes or vServers? Actually, you can perform the two. So you can connect at the cluster level or at the vServer or SVM level, depending on the level of administration you are, but both are possible.
okay, I think that the rest of the questions have been answered. So with that, I would like to first of all thank Andre for co-hosting with me. Andre, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Liat, for making sure that this keeping the disasters in this broadcast to a minimum. Thank you very much, Liat, and for sending the links and the polls. And last but not least, thank you for taking the time and joining us for this webinar. Thank you for asking questions. That makes the webinar a whole lot better, and answering the polls, of course. Thank you very much, and have a great rest of the day. Goodbye.